This is a school teacher from Connecticut. This video went viral once Libs of Tik Tok got a hold of it.
Just because you won doesn't mean we don't remember who the you voted for. You're not in the clear. And just please don't test your gangster on me, because you will end on a stretcher, gone forever.
Naturally, there was a lot of backlash. Let's talk about that. Hello out there. I am trying to get through.
With cold, blunt analysis cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnny Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's time for the Johnny Walker Dread Show.
If you voted for Trump, literally, please delete me, block me, get rid of everything of me, or step to me so that I know what's up and then I can handle you how I see fit.
Right off the bat, we have a problem. She's wanting kids to self-identify so that she can respond accordingly. What is this response going to be? She doesn't say, but there is a language arts content standard built on the concept of connotation. In Connecticut, where this teacher used to teach, this lesson is taught in 4th grade. It says something like this: interpret words and phrases as they are used in a text, including determining technical, connotative, and figurative meanings, and analyze how specific word choices shape meaning or tone. Here, so that I can handle you how I see fit, is a statement of domination, which indicates that her response is not going to be pleasant. She didn't say, so that we can come to an agreement. No, she's going to dish out punishment, and the student is going to have to accept it. Keep in mind that to deserve this treatment, all the student has to do is vote for Trump. But voting is a right, and implied in that right is the right to vote for whomever you wish. As a state worker, she cannot dish out unequal treatment to someone simply because that person exercised their right to vote for someone she doesn't like. So that I know what's up is also troubling. If a student blocks her, how would she know unless she is following them back? This indicates that she regularly follows her students on social media. Bad move. Under no circumstances should a teacher be engaging in communicating with his or her students on social media. Keep in mind that she must think that these channels of communication between her and her student must hold some value. Otherwise, why do it? But if they have value, social or educational, then she is threatening to withhold that value for some students, but give it to others. By the way, who among you thinks that this is the first time politics has entered the discussion in her classroom? The very fact that she thinks she's going to get backlash indicates that she's been pressing the politics hard all semester long and has probably been pretty obnoxious about it, especially because she thought her side was going to win. If you think your team is going to blow out the other team, you can end up crowing a bit too much before the game. And if you lose, the fans of that team that has had to put up with your crap are going to let you have it. And I think that's what's going on here. She's embarrassed that her favorite candidate didn't win and fears that the students she browbeated all semester are now going to get in her face about it. This is why I have long established a goal for my instruction. At the end of the year, all of my students should still be guessing as to my political affiliation. That is one mark of a professional educator. A professional educator creates an inclusive environment for all students, regardless of their race, gender, religion, and political affiliations. Conservative kids are entitled to just as much of an education as anyone else.
Just because you won doesn't mean we don't remember who the blank you voted for.
The blank indicates that she used profanity. We heard that. Now, it was edited out. I'm not sure by her after the fact or before she posted it. Regardless, absolutely unacceptable. Let's be clear. If you are teaching students in a public school, you are not to utter profanity around them. Ever. I once said, damn it, in front of my students when I realized I had left something back at my house. And I immediately told him, oops, sorry about that. One student said something like, it's okay, we hear it all the time. And my response was, no, I need to be more careful. And even after that, I was concerned that I was going to hear from the administration about it.
Or you're not in the clear. Please, please don't test your gangster on me because you will end on a stretcher, gone forever.
Like, what was she really going to do? And the answer is nothing. She clearly isn't tough enough to kill a kid with her bare hands, so she'd have to involve a weapon of some sort. But does anyone out there really think that she would literally use a knife or a gun to kill one of her students? Of course not. This is called braggadocio. Consider those that go around saying they would punch a Nazi. To me, that sounds like assault and battery. But again, would they really? Unlike them, I've actually taught real Nazis, not just kids who fit Antifa's ridiculously loose definition of a Nazi. If you voted for Trump, if you don't support trans, yada, yada, yada. I mean real Nazis. This was part of a program for released prisoners, and these guys had the swastika tattoos and the whole 9 yards. And however contemptuous I was about their political values, one good look at them and I wasn't about to punch them. And these Antifa morons wouldn't have either. This is the kind of boasting that Kyle Rittenhouse used when he said he would shoot a bunch of rioters at the CVS store in Chicago. And I would bet you top dollar that this teacher was upset that the video was not admitted in court so as to put Kyle in prison for the rest of his life.
He said he would do it, so that's evidence enough that he intended to kill those protesters in Kenosha.
Right? This is why I find politics so tiresome. All attempts to frame political arguments in honest terms have long evaporated. Kyle uttered a death threat, and they want him crucified, but only after they learn that Kyle is supported by conservatives. What about the teacher's death threats? Well, that's different, of course. Keep in mind that Kyle uttered his threats against those he didn't know and who he thought were breaking the law. She uttered her threats against her own students. To be consistent, we need to acknowledge that she in no way would have carried out her threat, and she knew that when she said it. As such, I would not consider it a crime, just careless, thoughtless, albeit violent, boasting. But you still can't say it. It's still a threat, even if no one would have thought you would have actually carried it out. Before we move on, remember that she said, "Don't test your gangster on me." She's now going to change her story.
What does that mean exactly?
Yeah, so
it
that
sounds like a threat.
It sounds very extreme. And again, I was in a moment of high emotions and I shouldn't have ever posted the video.
Of course, you were in a state of high emotions. Few people post such videos in states of emotional calm. Those that do are especially dangerous.
But what the message I was trying to get across, and it came off very wrong, was, if this is going to give people the almost permission in their minds to enact violence against women or anybody, I wanted to basically just say, I'm not going to go down without a fight.
So now she was concerned about violence against women in general, but her video indicated that she was concerned about violence against herself. So she's trying to change the narrative to make it appear that she only made the video to protect others from violence. That is, she's really the hero. I'm not buying it, and I doubt you are too. What does she mean by gangster? Well, this is where self-defense enters the picture. She is claiming that she would kill anyone who does this gangster on her. But that would require that gangster is such that it would threaten her with serious bodily injury. But who believes that Trump being elected would spur her students to attack her physically to such an extent? Most likely, she meant gangster to mean repulsive, lewd behavior. That is, if you get in my face about the election, I'll kill you. But again, it was an empty threat.
I mean, it's my life's dream to be a teacher. I consider those kids my kids because I don't have any of my own. And they fill that for me.
They're not your kids. The community pooled its money together to hire you to teach their kids skills and concepts that will help them achieve rewarding careers. They did not hire you to usurp their responsibility as parents. A lot of teachers say, well, we have the kids in our classroom probably for about as much time as they are at home. This makes it harder to distance yourself from acting as the student's parents, but that's why you have to exert more effort to do so. So this woman has no kids of her own, so she has sort of adopted the ones in her class. She even admits that these kids fill that part of her life that she feels is missing. That's not good. If you are wondering why some kids cannot control themselves when faced with unfavorable election results, which we used to call snowflakes before the term was used on just about everyone, just remember it is often learned behavior. They see the adults around them losing control of their faculties over the most seemingly innocuous events, and they learn to behave like that themselves.
And it's so fulfilling, it's so rewarding, and I know that what people see right now, I don't look like that person, but I truly would do anything to help any child and any family in need.
There's an old Arabic saying, a crow can say the words. I don't believe her. I think she would help families in need according to their political opinions. There's absolutely no doubt that she holds those who voted for Trump in utter contempt. This is beyond a rivalry. I'm not particularly fond of Texas fans, but if I see a Texas fan on the side of the road needing help, I'll help him. I'd do the same for someone with Bernie or Harris bumper stickers on their cars. Naturally, if they give me a bunch of crap, I might leave them behind. So she has clearly crossed the line from a mere grudge to hostility. Should she ever be a teacher again? I don't know. Certainly not before she performs a sea change on her understanding of what constitutes professionalism in education. This is what I would tell her. Number one, you are not the kid's mom. They already have parents, or at least guardians. Even in cases where you think that the parents aren't doing a good job, you cannot step in and assume their responsibility. If they are under foster care and their foster parents are doing a terrible job, in your opinion, then it's the responsibility of the state, not you, to correct that situation. Number two, do not get too comfortable with your students. You are not their friend. That means not prying into their private lives and not engaging in conversations that are none of your business. And it's none of your business if they decide to be girls, boys, or whatever. That's between them and their parents. If they want to be conservative or liberal or vote Trump or Harris, it's none of your concern. Number three, you are to follow district and state policy at all times. If a kid shows up wearing a Trump shirt, that may or may not be allowed by the district or state, depending on case law. How you respond depends on what rights the student and the school district have. It's not up for you to decide. If you're not sure, you can report the incident to your principal and let him or her tell you what to do in this instance. Better than that, be a professional educator and become acquainted with the school district's policies in such matters and act accordingly. Number four, you are to act professionally. That means no social media contact with students, no profanity, dress like you're going to church, and I mean a real church, not some tutti-frutti congregation led by a drag queen. Like my video and subscribe to my channel.